Welcome, everybody, to this edition of Attention Talk Video. I'm your host, ADHD and attention coach, Jeff Copper. I'm here today to talk about habits and objective observation and problem solving. Be honest with you, I've been doing this YouTube channel for about 10 years, and a lot of my work has recently culminated in the release of a new ADHD intervention called cognitive ergonomics from the inside out. It's an engineering approach to problem solving the challenges for people with ADHD by trying to identify what the root cause of the problem is. Basically, I'm using Dr. Russell Barkley's model to define what to look for in something called attention scope that I've developed to bring tangibility to Dr. Barkley's executive functions individually and collectively. So enough of that. Let's talk about what the model can bear. I get a lot of people calling me up saying, I need to establish habits. I need routines. I need habits. And I just got off the phone with an individual that I was coaching that is a financial advisor. And he was talking about, I need some habits to basically make cold calls. And one of the things that I've learned, ADHD is an executive functioning impairment. Literally, problem solving inside your head is impaired. And so it's more of a thinking problem most people realize. And when I'm working with this individual, it's clear that he's not making phone calls to prospective clients or cold calling because he himself doesn't know what to say. Now, a lot of times people with ADHD, they struggle in sales situations because they don't really know what to say. And they also don't like putting pressure on people because they don't like pressure put on them. And so in a sales world, they have this mentality that I've got to get them to buy something that they may or may not want, as opposed to, in my world, I just educate people on what I do. In a sense, I'm kind of indirectly doing that because I talked about cognitive ergonomics at the beginning of it. I'm not trying to sell you on it. I'm just trying to explain how it works and what you see through that model. And if people like it, then maybe you want to enroll in a class. So it's the difference between selling versus enrolling. A little bit off on a tangent, but the bottom line is a lot of times people are so focused in on building habits or routines that they don't realize that there's an underlying problem. For the most part, I ask people, like, in your lifetime, how much have you been trying to establish good routines and how often do they work? Well, rarely. Why? Because there's another issue. So in this particular situation, I'm talking about a guy who wants to establish a routine of cold calling. At the end of the day, our focus really is not on establishing the routine, but trying to find some scripts in a way, a mindset, if you will, to make the calls where he's comfortable, where he knows what to say, and it feels authentic. Recently, we had the idea of he'll call and say, "Hi, I'm so-and-so. I'm a financial advisor, and I suppose you already have a financial advisor. But what I'm doing is I'm calling you to establish a relationship because the time to find a financial advisor is not when you need one." Now, that language that we just kind of came up with was more authentic to this type of person, and thus it was easy for him to make the calls. What's the moral of all this? The moral of all this is often people are just trying to solve for what they can see. I need to establish a good habit. They're not really addressing the underlying reason why they might not be doing the habit, or what might be causing that particular problem. They're really just trying to cover the surface level stuff. So while I'm on this, I've had people come to me and say, I need to establish a routine. And you know what's funny is they roll over, they grab their phone, they start doom scrolling, and then now they're addicted to their phone for the rest of the day, and everything else is really secondary. Coaching that crowd, it's more about put your phone down, you might get a routine. So I hope this is giving you pause to think. A lot of times everybody's trying to solve for the symptom. The issue is to identify the underlying problem, which is a lot of what my channel's been about for a really long time. Really trying to solve this problem is a little bit difficult. That's why I built the program Cognitive Ergonomics from the inside out. But needless to say, as I wanted to unearth this to help people maybe stop and pay attention to what they're paying attention to and realize if the obvious solution isn't working, chances are you're paying attention to the wrong thing. And let go of just trying harder and building habits. If you're new to our channel, please subscribe. We try to share insights and tips like this each week. If you've been listening to the channel for a while, what do you think? In what I've just described, can you see lots of similarities between a lot of messages that have been in the past, a lot of my channel? Anyway, also, we do what we do for you. We certainly like any contribution by hitting the thanks button. With that, we hope you've enjoyed this edition of Attention Talk Video. Take care.